Well, welcome to Authentic Caregiving. And, some things just happen and some things become normal that weren't before. And for me, it's like wheelchairs, power chairs, etc., because my husband's in one too. So when I met Maria, I did not even see her power chair. Power chair. I saw her. And it's the same way with my husband. I don't see that. I see who I married and our lives together. So it's kind of interesting. Your paths, when we take different paths, things become normal. I wanted to introduce to you Maria Huppi. And in 2000, there was a windstorm and a tree fell on the roof of Maria and her husband's minivan. And Maria suffered a broken neck and became a quadriplegic. And so she didn't feel like, of course, she had much control over her body at all, right? And she wasn't able to garden and use creative pictures in her mind that she'd seen when planting flowers, the seeds of them and everything. She loved that. But that control came back with painting. And Maria's love and appreciation for growing flowers from seed has now transferred to colorful paintings that grow onto canvas. Okay, they don't just grow onto canvas. Maria's paintings are alive. They come alive. I mean, I was stunned when I visited her art studio of how the scene moves almost in your mind. And so that's quite a gift. So when Maria goes to her studio, she has control over creating something that might not only help herself, but also touch someone else's life in a positive way and encourage them, for sure. Welcome, Maria. I'm so glad you're here today. Could you show us, I think, first, just a couple paintings and how you paint?
Okay. There are a couple paintings behind me. The top painting is actually both are pictures that my husband has taken. And I paint on an easel and I have mouthpieces that get put on my paintbrushes. So then I use my mouth to go to the side, similar to my mouth stick that I have.
Wow.
Computer, to paint, and I'm able to get my paint and use all number of different brushes. And as I mentioned, the top painting, these are both oil paintings, and I start with a grid, use the grid system, and so get some lines drawn and have an iPad right next to me with the original picture. And then I basically work slowly and transfer over what I see. Sometimes I'll do colors that are not the straight color of the paint. I'll do a burnt umber, a brown, a tan, and then slowly work up and into the color. But then some paintings I do straight color and will finish them that way. But yeah, the rose, again, a picture Mike took, and I just close in on it and then do a grid and start getting all the lines and shapes, and then start putting on the paint, and start with dark and slowly work into light. So,
okay, one, she said she had a few paintbrushes. No, she has a boatload of paintbrushes. I mean, every size and shape I could think of. And you know how she put that in her mouth and it seemed like it was bouncing a little. When she's painting, there's no bouncing. I mean, she is like minute. It's amazing. And I love, you said you use a grid, and I'm laughing because if I put something on a grid, that it's going to paint, no, it would not come out even close. I'm, yeah, no. So I love that. And what is the flower? Is it a flower up above the white one?
It's a calla lily.
Oh, beautiful. I love it. Gotcha. Beautiful. And she also does a lot of, you're doing a lot of like scenery also. And
Yes.
tell about your fish thing that you just got in a journal. That's exciting.
Well, my husband, actually, it was a while back. And my husband is a home inspector, and one of his clients was in charge of getting cover stories together for a journal. And so I was able to get on the cover of that journal with my my fishing koi painting that I did. So that was a lot of fun. And you never know who you're going to run into that is able.
No.
So I was this cover girl. That's when he came home and he said, you're going to be probably a cover girl. And I was like, what?
Sounds like
Yeah, I never know with him and his coming home and who he meets.
I love it. Wow, I love it. What a great opportunity.
Yes.
Yeah, that's beautiful. And I've seen some of your fish paintings. Do you do everything almost in oil, or what do you use? What medium?
Sometimes I'll start with acrylic and overlay with oil. I like oil, but I'm going back and forth. I mainly do oil though, but I did start with acrylic.
I love it. Okay. Tell us a little bit about your background, your family growing up, or just in general.
Well, I was born in Pendleton, Oregon, and I have 5 sisters and 2 brothers, and a large family. My parents ended up divorcing when I was 10 and moved to Spokane, Washington, and went to school there. And my mom got remarried and graduated high school there. And then I moved back to Portland because my dad was here, and went to college at Pacific University for a couple of years. And I didn't quite know what I wanted to do, so took a break, and then fell into wanting to work with kids and counseling. And so I ended up going back to school, taking some part-time classes, and ended up getting my bachelor's in psychology at Portland State. I finished and started working at a group home with teenagers. And it was there that I ended up meeting my husband, and he had 2 kids of his own. So between us getting involved and getting married, I got out of counseling and decided I wanted to focus a little bit more on the family and his boys that ended up moving in with us. And then we had a car accident, which uprooted us, and we ended up moving from Oregon City to Aloha. And between becoming a home inspector for Mike and me helping him with the business a little and getting into mouth painting, that's kind of where I'm at.
Wow. You have had a journey with education. I mean, wow. You were persistent, really. I mean, to take some time off and then go back, really, because a lot of people just don't go back. And then let's see, how long were you? Okay, the kids moved in like right away after you were married?
No, I met him when they were around 10 and 12. And then they didn't move in until they were around 13, 15, which were I was primed. I was primed already, ready for them at that point, just because of my background. And they didn't know what I knew because they knew what my job was. So they didn't know what to expect from me. But the main thing that Mike and I focused on was for them to respect me, and not necessarily as their mother, but for us to be their parents. And that's how we saw things. And I respect Mike, he respects me, and we displayed that and showed that to the boys, for examples, role models for how they should be, treating, their future relationships. And so we have a good relationship with both of them, and they're turned out to be real nice young men. And I'm very proud of them.
You were the perfect person. Well, you're one that was brilliant to come across as a united front.
Yeah.
I mean, 13, really? I was not at my peak at 13. And then you were the perfect person. I mean, your background, you weren't surprised, like what they were going to be, you know what I mean? That process of growing up.
It was planned. It was in the plan.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Plans that you don't seek. I mean, really.
No.
So when they came to you, then you had already had the accident?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, they came to us, I think in 96 is when they moved in. And that's when we had the flooding and everything. Or no, they weren't with us yet. Yeah, they weren't with us yet. They came in probably around right after that. But no, we had a couple of years, and it was in 2000. So the older one had gone into the Marines, Brian, and the younger one was still with us, and actually just about to graduate high school, about 6 months away. And Mike and I were gonna be, just the two of us, and where are we gonna go? Are we gonna move? We, no kids, and
yeah.
6 months before that timeline, we had the accident happen. So
when you did a 180.
Yep, it pretty much was like, okay, we're not gonna do that route anymore.
Yeah. Phil and I had a talk this morning, even just about what would our life have looked like? What was our plans? Well, our plans were travel some, maybe. Him and Jordan were going to go on my son and him were going to go on a motorcycle trip, and 180, great things happened and tragic things happened, right? At the same time sometimes. Yeah. Okay, so you have a huge family, may I say. And did you go to the Pendleton Roundup all the time?
Yes, I did. I did. I grew up with the parades and the carnival rides, and straight down the hill. We lived on the top of the hill on Main Street. And so, I remember all those times. And it was a lot of fun.
What was a challenging childhood memory for you?
Actually, probably around when I was about 8 years old, I ended up losing my hair. Slowly started falling out, and I have alopecia areata and needed to start wearing a wig. And at 8 years old, you don't have a lot of wigs to choose from. But between my family and my parents, just the support and the positivity of, and the family, just, it was probably the most difficult thing with school, it's gotten pulled off, and just things like that. And that was probably the most difficult thing to get.
Did anyone else in your family have that happen?
No, it wasn't.
Interesting. Huh.
Yeah.
All right. And then what was an excellent childhood memory?
Oh my gosh. Like you said, I mentioned I've got a large family and there are so many memories. Um, you know, we'd ride bikes at a little clan and we, played baseball in the front yard and, you know, just being there together. We'd go to the swimming hole and we had a cabin that we go to.
Oh,
And we did a lot of fun things. And honestly, I've lived even towards into my adult life with all of my brothers and sisters at one point. And so it's just always having someone there, I guess.
wow. Do you guys get together as a group?
We have, yeah, we
Yes.
just the girls, the sisters, were doing annual sister visits and trips and would stay even before and then also after the accident. We would do that as well.
Excellent.
Yeah, that would give us and Mike an opportunity to get kicked out of the house for the weekend and get to go fishing and anything else that, would be able to give us time. And
That's really cool that you would still get together with them often, and that's good. That's good. Tell us like more detail how you met your husband,
well,
and
after,
what did you think of him?
ah,
Was it instant or?
after after college and that I ended up living with my dad and was helping take care of him because he had surgery. And so I was doing caregiving for him, actually, laundry and shopping and whatever he needed. And he was living in condo over in Beaverton. And so I take care of him and do his laundry. And there was just a couple different buildings, but at the end of the unit is the laundry room. And so I would go there to do his laundry. And one day I was there and Mike came in and was doing his laundry and we just got to visit. And then the next week, same thing. And so we ended up meeting and visiting and talking and it was magic. This happened out of the blue and not expecting it for either of us.
Were you instantly interested in him, or was it just over time?
Oh, I probably definitely was, but it was one of those, oh, I'll never see him again or
Yeah.
whatnot. But he was not too far from, a window to be able to see the laundry room to check out to see when I was going to be there. So it was
Cool.
in the plan.
Oh my goodness, that is great.
And we just hung out as friends. And he actually already had known my dad when he did meet my dad for the first time at the pool with the boys. And so when he came in, it was like, hi, John, hi, Mike. And I was like, you know each other? So
Wow.
that was kind of fun, but
Wow.
yeah.
We'll get into your caregiving in a little bit more detail, but describe like a typical day before your accident.
A typical day before would be getting up early, going to work, and coming home. And sometimes, if it was nice out, we lived in Oregon City. Mike, we had the same schedule, and we would get our stuff on, get dressed, and go and grab the boat and go out in the water in Oregon City, right by the falls there.
Yes.
Grab some sandwiches and be fishing for sturgeon and just sitting there enjoying the water in the boat. That was one night
Wow.
or be out gardening and dinner and bed and just, you know,
Living
do
the dream.
yeah. Basically, just, being together and
Yeah.
enjoying each other.
Do you consider yourself more of an introvert or an extrovert?
Um,
Before, let's say before.
mm, Probably an introvert more, um, I guess.
Do you recharge alone?
Do I recharge alone?
Like I'm an extrovert. People would think I'm an extrovert, but I I get to a point where I've had enough of a lot of people
Mm,
and I need to be alone just to recharge, get my mind together. So I'm not I'm not an extrovert in the sense of my sister-in-law is an extrovert, definitely.
Yeah,
She recharges with people.
I I could definitely charge with people. I'm more alone though, as far as being at home and painting and um, but I really do enjoy people and being around people and visiting and talking and being around my family.
Well, I guess your career path would say that you like to be around people, right? Yeah, yeah. Okay, what's a typical day now for you?
Oh, a typical day now is a little different. Uh, Depending on whether I have a caregiver or not, getting up, which can sometimes take, the whole morning, and then trying to get together with what's going on, whether there's appointments to be made or things to be done, and then getting, caregiver or whatnot to set up lunch, and then hopefully getting all my stuff put together and eventually trying to get some painting in, um, and then waiting for Mike to come home and dinner and bed and doing it all over again.
Uh-huh. What is your level of injury? What was it for spinal
It's
cord?
a C5-6.
And Phil C3-4. Yeah,
Mhm.
interesting. And what kind of, there's such a variety with spinal cord, different people. What do you have torso? Do you have hand? What do you have?
I don't have my hands. I mean, I have them, but
They're there.
no movement
Mhm.
for my hands. I do have my arms that I can move around. I can still get some hugs in, which is, a big deal, and uh, movement. And I try to move as much as I can. So
You have a beautiful backyard
I do.
that you can get
That's
out in it. Yes. Yeah.
right, and that was big because when we moved eventually over to this house, it was just a green yard back there, and we ended up being able, like, every year we'd kind of do like one major type of thing in the backyard or do some alteration. And so because of the grass and the bumpiness with the wheelchair getting through in the rain, we ended up making a path around the whole backyard. And so I'm able to go out there and watch the flowers grow and enjoy the birds and the hummingbirds, especially,
Mhm.
and the garden and the fish. Mike ended up one of the first years making a koi pond in the
Yeah.
backyard. So it's,
Spectacular.
the fish, and which is where some of the pictures came from that I've painted.
Mm.
That's come from our fish in our pond.
They're pretty good size.
And that's what my life was before, with the gardening and growing
Oh,
flowers. I was growing flowers from seed, and because I love to share plants. I
wow.
I just, that was always and always is really fun to be able to share plants with people.
I love it. Huh. I just try to keep them alive once in a while. I have an orchid right now that is still living.
Oh,
Somebody gave me. I love it. Okay, so after your injury, did friends stay, or I mean, for or did you make new friends, or you went to, where did you go to do rehab?
um, I went to Rio, Good Sam
Yeah. Build it.
downtown, and as far as friends, I have friends that have come and gone, but I think that happens in life in general. As you take different jobs and different, you move different places and whatnot. But I have, friends from high school. I have friends from college and different jobs I've had. You meet connections, and you learn and grow and have the same values, and you end up staying together no matter what the person does. Or I have specifically one roommate from college I lived with for those 2 years at Pacific, and she came not too long ago, and it was like she's was in my room still at college. I mean, there's friends like that you don't change your relationship, that you can talk to about anything at any time.
I love that. Wow. I need therapy with you.
Ah,
I do have a high school friend, well, grade school. Our moms had babies the same time, us, and in the same hospital. And so we get together, once or twice a year, but it's like you never left.
right.
And and our lives kind of parallel in different ways, but it's very special
That's awesome.
to have that. Yeah. Wow. That's really awesome that you stay in contact with people from there. Tell me, like, how you move forward mentally every day. I mean, I get up some days and I go, what is the freaking point? And then there's other days where I go, okay, God made this day. Obviously, I have purpose in some way.
Mhm.
And feels much more actually positive, naturally positive.
Mhm.
And I think after his accident, especially after his injury, especially. So what about you? How do you start your day
Um,
mentally?
Mentally, I start thinking about what I want to accomplish. Um, I'm glad that I am able to get up and get out of bed and do what I can do. Um, and I just was always raised that way with parents, and my mom has always been a positive person,
Mm.
just looking for basically the good, which brings up one of my paintings I did, which was a bottle of wine that the label on it was "Look for the Good," and I
I love that one. Mhm.
painted that in 2020, and it actually has the date there on the bottle is 2020, but it was based more on one of my sisters, Marge, was into and is into Jason Mraz, singing artist, and his music is just really uplifting and about love and just looking for the good. And you could be positive or negative, and you make that choice. And
Yes.
it's just, you feel a lot better when you choose the positive choice.
Yes.
And
Wow. I gave a talk recently on the theme was see the good, notice the tiny daily miracles, because they're happening all around us. The
right.
tiny things, Sometimes at the end of the day, I'll write down all, like 5 great things that happened today.
Mhm.
And I always have them, so it trains my mind more. And do my gratitudes in the morning, I try to. And why, I'm thankful for this, or I'm grateful for this. Why? Why am I grateful for that? What does
Mhm.
that do? So yeah, I hear you. Wow, that's really good. How long does it take you to get ready in the morning? I mean, people
For
help
what?
you. Pardon?
Get ready for what?
For the day. We're not going there. The, for the for the day, like up, showered, dressed, or however whatever way you do it.
It varies in the mornings, depending on my schedule. And so some mornings aren't till noon, some mornings are 10. Uh, and then, of course, if we get to sleep in, that varies too.
Mm-hmm.
So it just depends on Mike's work schedule and when we have to start that. And again, if I have a caregiver or not, because that can go up and down with that schedule.
Yeah, it's a challenge to keep caregivers. That's what I hear across the board with spinal cord community on Facebook, that
Mhm.
it's a challenge. And I recently got someone to stretch Phil from a second year PT students, and they come and stretch him once or twice a week. So it's incredible. They're students. I pay them, but I mean, because he has to be stretched so slow. So
Right.
slow. So yes, I could do it, but it's not my gift.
Uh-huh.
So, and it's good to bring in other people
Right.
sometimes. So I'm excited. It makes such a difference in his tone and
Yes,
spasm. So it's very much worth it. And she's been awesome. So
I've actually,
that was from Pacific.
yeah. Well, and speaking of that, I've had um, from an occupational therapist recommendation that's come to see me before. I got a PT student. She was wanting to be a physical therapist and through an office. And so she came to meet me, and then she was coming twice a week in the afternoon to come and range me, not a whole lot on the legs, but my arms to build up strength. And then she was able to use me in her school application in becoming a physical therapist. And she is a physical therapist in Portland, that one in
Oh,
particular. And I ended up having another one that same way. So that's a lot of
wow.
fun to have, different people,
Yeah.
coming into your life that way.
Yes. Yes. That's exciting. That's good. That's great. Um, so mentally, you just make a choice, because that's what we can control, is our thoughts, our
Right.
words, etc. Yeah. Okay. Um, Describe your spiritual life, or whatever it is or isn't, or
Um, I was raised Catholic, and I've always pretty much considered myself Christian, and I've gone to different churches. And um, I guess it kind of boils down spiritual wise is figuring out that the main choice is finding your purpose and finding ways of creating intuition, and just different people that I listen to. I listen a lot to Wayne Dyer, and
uh-huh.
he talks a lot about the spirit and um, creating your own magic,
Mm-hmm.
and just I'm just learning. I'm I'm he one of his things is always be a student, and just you know to find yourself that way. But learning more about energy and how the energy all of us have, and um, just what you really have inside of you. I mean, just even to heal your own skin when you have a cut or something, your body heals itself. And just there's just a lot of things to learn and to think about that way.
And it is, isn't it? Because, like I believe that, God is spirit. Well, that's a huge amount of energy. And
Mhm.
so, and I believe that the more you seek him, there's no end to the learning.
Right.
There's no end to it. Yeah,
No.
and that's exciting. Yes, I agree. And I have heard Wayne Dwyer. Yeah, Wayne
Dyer.
Dwyer. Yeah.
Yeah.
Where
But
do
then
you?
just about
Go ahead.
love, everything's about, love and finding who you are inside, but that it's endless. You can be whoever you want, and to find, how that
Therapy.
uh, how that works, but just to feel good and be happy.
Uh-huh. Say what you said again, kind of. Do you remember what you just said? We said Wayne Dyer, and you were saying that it's a choice to feel good, correct? Is that what you were saying?
Yeah, it's a
Mhm.
choice to feel good, and um, to find, your purpose. And we all can keep going and learning who we really are inside. And I'm still doing that. I'm finding out things all the time, but I learn through paintings, um, you know, paintings that I do for others, or just paintings I do for myself.
So you do commission paintings.
Yes, I do.
Mhm, mhm. I know what you said. You said love above all. Basically, you were saying love above all. And I was thinking about that this last week or last couple of weeks. How, yeah, love can be all mushy gushy, all that wonderful, but that's really not deep love. Deep love is usually a sacrificial offering in a way, um, that you're giving to another.
Mm-hmm.
And when I looked at it that way, my perception changed a lot. I thought, oh, well, of course it is.
Mm-hmm.
That's what really
Mm-hmm.
counts. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? Because everybody can go, oh, I just love that, and I love you. And
Uh-huh.
well, do you? I mean, or do I? Do
Yeah.
I? Or am I just irritated still?
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. Where do you see yourself in like 5 to 10 years or so, or 3 to 5 years, or
I don't see myself very far from where I'm at, other than trying to connect with more people and get my paintings out there, and seeing how many more people I can interact with and share my work, and um, hope to, inspire or help that way.
Mhm. When you say your purpose, do you think that, different seasons you have different purpose, or just are you meaning your overall gut purpose in life?
I guess the
Go
I
ahead.
guess the overall um, purpose, I think we're all here, for a reason. And I inside, I don't necessarily think the accident was, you know, it helped steer my life to where I'm at now. Um, Moving anywhere, when you pick up and move to a different town, that totally can change your life. Or, things happen, the choices that we make, even the choices that we don't make that are handed to us,
Mhm.
as you know, with your husband.
Mhm.
So
You
Um,
seem very clear on your purpose. I've struggled with that over my lifetime. I know some of my purpose, but I I struggle sometimes with how to apply that. No.
no, I'm there too. I'm there too.
Mm,
So it's just now I just want to be able to try and get my foot out the door and find that and connect with it.
Did you go out to eat? Do you go to movies? What do you do? Or do you just, as Phil, he enjoys being home because it's routine and he thrives there. So
Yeah, I'm home most of the time, um, able to get out here and there, but for the majority of time with my backyard. And my husband is an excellent cook. So if and when we do go out, it's like you could do better at home. So quality of food. Then we can have people over to our house or whatnot, or go to theirs. But
mhm. Yes, we want you to come over. Yes, it'll be
yeah,
fun. It'll be good.
yes, definitely.
Yeah. Um, what philosophy do you live by?
I guess
Like mine is like never quit,
uh-huh.
because I wanted to quit so many times.
Well, um, I guess that goes back to the positive side of things and living with your cup half full instead of half empty, and um, just being the best version of who you are. It's not always easy in our situations, and my husband is like way above and beyond my partner, and I it's hard to do as much for him as he's done for me, but um, you know again, love pulls you through a lot of things, and it's been almost 30 years, so we've been through quite a bit, but I have a lot of support of my family and friends, and so I guess
Yeah, it really helps, doesn't it? And keeping a positive outlook. Phil doesn't look back. He's, and I agree too. There's nothing back there for us, really.
mm-hmm,
You can't change the past.
mm-mm,
You can only move forward all the time.
mm-hmm,
And I do love that. He also went to Rio, but it was 10 years, 11 years later than you did.
mm-hmm.
It was the
Yeah.
same place. So yeah.
And
Um,
this is the body I have. It's I don't look back at my other body. I'd like to have it, but um, you know, this is what I'm used to. This is who I am. So that's what, you move on.
that's a great philosophy. Okay, tell us about how you've been a caregiver. So what was that like for you, and how did you get into caregiving? And
Well, haven't technically been a caregiver, but I have. Right, actually, before my accident, my dad ended up getting pancreatic cancer, and so a bunch of us sisters that were here were able to help each other, help him. He was able to live in his apartment, his condo, and we took turns. So one of us was always there overnight. But when it first happened, it was like, I'm gonna do what with what? And I've got to give him his, insulin, and I've got to, uh, do this, and spend the night next to him. Uh,
that's caregiving, girl. That's
yeah,
caregiving. Yeah.
and it was a wonderful experience, I have to say. We were all there for him when he did end up passing, but he was at home until a few days before he passed.
Mhm.
And it, when he did pass, it was like it was not the best situation, but it was in the sense that it felt like I did everything I could. And he was complete, and it happened the way that, he would want it to be. And he ended up, being taken care of. And
Those moments are really kind of, I call them holy moments, because there's something different about it. You don't want to be doing that. You don't want them to pass at
right,
all, no matter what, really. You're never, quote, ready,
right,
as usually as a family. But there's something holy about it if you go through it. I feel, for me, it was with my mom. I knew I wanted to do it. I wanted to be there. I
right.
prayed and prayed, please let me be there at the last moment, please, after all these years, of 13 years with her. And I was. And so family, it was priceless, really.
Right. Yeah. All of the majority of my family were there when my dad did pass. And he was a religious man too. So the chaplain did come into the room and, would you like to say a prayer? And we were all around and held hands and said the prayer. And then my dad took his last breaths. So,
wow.
Yeah, I was holding his hand, and it was pretty moving that he was there and he heard.
Yes.
And it was like, just ended the best way.
Yes, ours did too. It was amazing. A girlfriend came and sang over her. She loved the music. She loved hymns. That was just a huge gift of love, really. And I think she knew, I know she did. And to have everyone there. And that moment for me, I've been with 2 or 3 different people when they passed, but that moment, even though really sick, etc., they're suffering really often, not always. Isn't that just, it's amazing to me. It's like,
Mhm.
1 minute they're there, this is my mom, and then last breath, and that isn't them anymore. Or
Right.
I felt that anyway.
Right. Well, they were
It's beautiful.
gone.
It's beautiful.
Yes.
It's just, and then yeah, it's something else. And no, I'm not anxious to do that again.
Oh yeah, no, but it was interesting because he passed, and then 6 months later, or 8 months later or so, we had our accident. And my dad actually was a physical therapist, so he would have been all over taking care of me. He would have been incredible in helping me with, my recovery. So I went from taking care of him, and then we had my accident, and so now needing a caregiver. And then also my 90-year-old, almost 90-year-old mother lives across the street. And so we actually help take care of each other in a sense, because
wow.
she has always said she wanted to be my hands. And so she would help in the garden and do yard work, and she would help with my painting. She's actually an artist herself. So she was the one who encouraged me to get into mouth painting.
Wow.
If it wasn't for her. And she's just, been a real strong light, and love, hugs every day, and just,
What a gift that is, really. What a gift
it really has been.
For each other too.
Exactly. Because now, being older, she's broke her hip and broke her elbow at one point, and using a walker, but she's got a smile on her face, and does what she does to, and is it still a positive light
Wow.
light to everyone that she's around. And so I go over there and we play cards with a card holder, and
Oh, I love it.
you know,
What do you play?
her favorite right now is Kings in the Corner. So any of my family that come, that's her game to play, and it's a lot of fun.
Nice, nice. Wow. Wow. And sit right across the street. That's amazing.
Lots of different caregiving in there, though, whether it's me or trying to help others that way, and especially family.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Okay. So what, if you were sitting with a caregiver, what would you say their top needs are, or top advice you would give them?
To a caregiver, or what I need?
To a caregiver. Well, it will be, from your perspective, I'm sure, but what would you say to them? If there you go, I'm going to start caregiving for so-and-so, what would you say? Good luck.
As far as my needs, I'm not understanding.
Oh, it could be anyone. I'm going to go take care of my mother.
Okay.
I'm just starting out. What are you going to say?
Well, you have to figure out what their daily care is, their needs. I know exercise, you mentioned, as far as stretching, and is that where you're thinking?
Yes. Yep. Go ahead.
A lot of it for me over the years, I've had a number of different caregivers, and it's a lot is companionship at the time that you're getting helped, or you're being helped. And sometimes just talking, caregivers have been wonderful, but sometimes their lives have been up and down and sporadic. And so I find that maybe I'm helping them at the same time, and just talking, and they don't have any one to talk to, or caregiving, you don't end up meeting a lot of people necessarily, depending on their outside life. So yeah, just a bunch of different things.
I love it. Go
Besides food and water, making sure everyone has some food and water, that's always good too.
I like that exercise, and look at their needs. The companionship, yes, it's not just in the caregiving, because you get to know the people really well. And Jordan ended up marrying one of our student nurses, so that's a win-win.
That is a win, and that's in the plan too. There you go.
I know. What? I know. We wouldn't imagine that. When we feel pitiful, we're like, yeah, but we would never have met Nicole. So
if he never would have the accident, right?
Yeah. What 5 words would you use to describe yourself?
First of all, I think humor.
Yay.
I think that's huge and important, but I try to, find the humor in things, and again, positive. And I would say patient. You can't not be patient with things. And probably another one would be creative with my artwork, and probably another one would be observant, just because I sit sometimes, and a lot of all I can do is watch. And so I'll be watching something, or if something falls, or if just and then just the different level that I'm at, that people are standing, I'll be able to see a different angle of something. Sometimes in the garden, if Mike's out there picking vegetables, I'm able to, nope, there's something underneath that leaf right over there. I saw something yellow or whatever.
Yes.
Probably observant.
I love it. Humor, to be positive, patient, creative, and observant. Wow, observant, I understand, because it's like, what? And he sees so much detail because he's watching. Yeah, yeah, interesting. What is one piece of advice you'd give to a spinal cord person? Maybe somebody who's just starting out.
One of the best things that has benefited me is to drink a lot of water. I was never a water drinker. Fluid is important for your skin. It's been 23 years and I haven't had any skin issues that have been at all.
Wow.
Probably on one of my toes, if anything. But it's really important to, your body, what do they say, 80% water,
Yeah.
something like that. Another thing is to really get used to saying the words please and thank you.
When you come over, could you like to say that a little bit?
I catch myself, but it's
It
so
means so
important.
much. Yes.
It's important, and as a spinal cord, your needs are a lot. And
Yes.
and so I feel myself, someone comes anywhere near me, it's like, oh, can you get,
Yeah.
would you get this, and it's constant and it's frustrating for me and sometimes them. So those words always, kick me to make sure that, get used to it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, and other people on the other side are usually, well, I know your husband is, but very attentive in a way, because they're always looking out for you in a way.
Yeah.
I do with Phil anyway. I don't know, maybe
Yeah.
everybody doesn't, but I'm like, I find myself, I am kind of on alert in a way,
Mhm.
in the background always,
Well, yeah, well,
what
Mike's
does he
that way.
need?
Mike
Yeah.
will be at his computer and he'll have one ear in listening to whatever he's doing and the other ear's open for when Mike, yelling
Yeah,
from the other
right,
room, or
right.
what I need him to do. But yeah.
Awesome. Well, I can't wait to see more of your paintings. And I think I'll post your link on your, sometimes you put photos up of your paintings, correct?
Yeah, on my website.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'll add your website if that's okay in the group so they can find you. And thank you so much for meeting with us today and talking about how your life it was and how it is now. And if there's anything that I have a takeaway is your positivity and how you find purpose each day. And that is humbling to me.
Oh.
So thank you for sharing that part. And I know it touches other people too.
Yeah.
Blessings to you. Have a great day. Thanks for coming in. I appreciate it.
And I'm looking forward to coming over to your house.
Yes. Yes, do. We are accessible. Okay.
All right.
We'll have my son and stuff here. That'll be great.
That'll be fun.
Yeah. Okay. See you later. Thank you.
All right.
Thanks, Maria.
Thanks, Kay.
Mm-hmm.
Bye.
Bye-bye.